Welcome to episode 10. In this episode, we're going to be cutting off these old rubbing strakes and making some new ones. So, these old rubbing strakes, they need to come off because they're completely knackered, basically. You look underneath and the pitting is ridiculous. In fact, there's places where it's gone through completely. But this could never be fixed whilst it was in the water, because as you can see from the scum line, these things were half in the water and half out. So they were always really untidy because they were always covered in scum. If something bumped them, there was no way you could touch them up, so they then just rusted. And as they were rusting through underneath, no one could do anything about them. So we're going to cut these off and build some new ones, and we're going to make them a bit smarter than these. So you can see along there that these are straight. They're not sort of profiled to a curving hull of the boat. They're dead straight. They're 8 centimeters wide. I don't know what that is, about 3 centimeters high. And just sort of cut flat at the back, and at the front they've just got a sort of nasty sort of, somebody tried to make a smooth sort of lead on there, but it looks rubbish. So what we're going to do with these, I think they're quite a nice feature. They could be quite a nice feature if they're in the right place and they look right. So what I want to do is move them up above these drain holes so that they're visible. I'm going to put the top and the bottom, I don't want flat, because if it's above the water and the bottom's flat, you'll get spiders under it. And if the top's flat, you'll get birds and things trying to nest on it, or somebody could walk along it. If someone's inclined to walk along it, they're going to scrape the paint off of it, and then you know, you've got that to sort out. So I'm going to copy that 70-degree angle, this 70-degree angle we see all over the boat. I'm going to copy that in these. We're going to have a 70-degree slope on the top, 5 centimeters flat, and then a 70-degree slope on the bottom. And we're going to put them, you know, maybe just 2 or 3 inches above these holes. And we're going to make them longer. So these ones are 2 meters long. I managed to find these enormous sheets of 316 stainless steel at a local builder's yard. They've been taken out of a commercial kitchen. So some of them have got a few screw holes, but there's absolutely loads of material here for me to pick through. And these are 2.5 meters long. So we might as well use the full length of those and make 2.5 meter long rubbing strakes. So that'll increase those by 50 centimeters. And I've held a straight edge 50 centimeters in front of these, and it's still flat. There is still no curvature 50 centimeters in front of these. So this is going to be easy. We just need to cut flat strips of metal, form it into that sort of trapezoid shape, and weld them on, really. Just a lot of welding and cutting. I think we might try the plasma cutter for this. So yeah, here's a little drawing. That's what they're going to look like. 70-degree angles, obviously going to be on their side. 5 centimeter sort of face. They'll have a 70-degree angle piece on the front as well to finish them off. And the stainless skin, we're just going to bond to that with Sikaflex. So we'll paint these all properly like the rest of the boat, and then we'll bond the stainless skin on there. And that stainless is already sort of pre-polished, so we won't need to mess about with that too much either. Just be careful with it as we're cutting it before we stick it on. So we've got a few tools set up here. This is my plasma stroke TIG welder. I've had this machine about 8 or 9 years. Amazing machine, but I've never tried to plasma cut with it, so we've just connected all this up. It's a bit experimental. Just tried it on that little piece there. Seems to be really powerful. So that's what we're going to use to get these things off. Otherwise, I'm just going to eat through discs. Firstly, cutting those, and then cutting all the new strips out of this piece of 5mm steel. So yeah, if we can get away with the plasma cut on these, it'd be amazing. But first, because the plasma cutter needs it needs metal to metal contact to start the arc, I need to grind back the layers of paint that are all around these, all around, you know, close to the body. So we'll start on these with the grinder, and then we'll hit it with the plasma. And I'm sure the PPE for grinding and plasma cutting is a bit more than a vest and some safety specs, but it's way too hot today for much else, so let's see how we get on. So we've run all the way along there with the plasma now. It's not quite the magic pill I hoped it would be, but you know, it's not bad. It's a nice wide clean cut where I go along at a consistent speed, nice and straight. You know, it's a pretty nice cut, but it's imperfect. There are little sort of bridges all the way along it, so I'm probably going to have to put the thin stainless cutting wheel through that, but I mean, nonetheless, that saved like 99% of the cutting if we just got to cut out a few little bridges before we can break that off. So yeah, let's see if we can open this this split up and get this thing off. So we just cut this little section out here because I wanted to, one, make sure that the plasma cutting wasn't cutting the main hull, which is not. It hasn't cut that at all. There's just, you know, the sort of blown dross inside here. And also because I think trying to plasma cut from underneath with all the dross and stuff blowing out this gap now on the top all over me, it's just going to be an absolute nightmare. So I wanted to cut the top piece out, and then I will cut along the bottom from the top. So that's what we're going to carry on with. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. I mean, grinding wheels last an awful lot longer than cutting wheels, so I don't mind grinding that bit of metal back, but this is going to save an awful lot of cutting wheels.
Can you feel my I do, I'm not gonna lose. I fought for my life, I made my own rules. Yeah. I walk in the dark, I stand in the shadows.
So we've now cut this off. Quite happy with the plasma cut. That was, you know, great tool really. Haven't ever used that before. Very handy. But what I've realised, I thought that was just going to be something that had been welded up and then welded to the boat here and here, but it's not. That was actually like a piece of sort of 30mm by 80mm tube. There's the weld on the inside of the top section. So what we've been left with now is a 3mm piece of steel welded to the boat. So after all that, I am going to have to run the grinder along there, but we know now, and for the other one, that we've just got to go through this weld all the way around and that tube will come off. So yeah, let's get the grinder out and finish this off. We just need to check that the side of the freeboard is dead flat where we're going to put the new rubbing strake, because the strake can't curve, so it can only be put on, you know, a flat surface. So I can see that the hull starts to curve inwards towards the bow, level with this drain hole here. So what we'll do, we'll make the new rubbing strake to come just in front of this. Won't quite be the 2.5 meters length, but it'll just start just in front of this so that both of them are underneath it, and it will go all the way to the back. We'll probably put an angle on it like that or something at the back so it ties in nicely. Right, finish marking this up and then we'll grind off where it's going to go. So that's what it's going to look like. It's a pretty bold thing, but yeah, I think think that'll look great. It sort of means the name's going to be right in the middle of the freeboard there, which is quite nice. It's about 30mm from the back there. Right, so now it's time to cut these pieces to make the rubbing strakes. I'm going to use the plasma cutter for this because we're going to be welding down every single edge, so it doesn't really matter if it's a bit of a rough cut, but this should be a lot quicker and a lot cheaper than using discs. So just need to try not to melt my plastic stands. Now I think the first thing I need to do is just cut this great big sheet into more manageable pieces. So we're just going to cut down the edge of here, then down there, and then, you know, split those off because this is too heavy to lift. There we are. That is one neat cut. Doesn't really even get that hot. It blows all the liquid metal all the way through it. So we've done some final prep on these pieces for the rubbing strakes. I've ground back all the dross from the plasma cutting, and I've just put some water and some Fertan on them. So overnight these will cure. That'll just protect the steel on the inside, because I don't want to paint them inside, but I'd like them to have some kind of rust preventative on the inside. And we'll just leave them as they are once those have cured, so they'll be protected. And then we've done a final markup on both sides of the location of the strake so that it matches on both sides. The boat is not exactly symmetrical from side to side. Like this total distance here is 1 centimetre longer on the other side. And the water line, the scum line, is 1 centimetre out on the other side. Because of that, the boat is a centimetre further above the water. So we've made the location of the rubbing strakes the same on both sides, regardless of where the scum line is going to come to, because I don't doubt that will change once we finish working on this thing. So we're going to be changing the weights and centres of gravity and stuff a bit, so the scum line might move. But yeah, that's where that we've put Tipex lines where those strakes are going to go. So we've done this both sides. Yeah, so the next thing tomorrow, we're going to try and tack these into place. Now we're ready to start the welding on this. This is going to be a huge job. I'm not going to film all of it, but we'll get the start on camera. There was 18 meters of plasma cutting and grinding and cleaning up to do to make the pieces for this. So there's going to be at least 18 meters of welding as well. So we'll just do one side on camera. Right, I think the first thing we need to do is use my little gauge to get some pieces welded to the side of the freeboard at the correct angle. Just basically build the thing up on the boat, tacking it into place. The freeboard actually it's not completely straight, it's a bit bowed all the way along its length, so this is the perfect opportunity to use this as a strengthener to pull this out. So as I'm welding this along, I'm going to be going inside and using a jack and some blocks to push this out so that it comes nice and straight with the rubbing strake. So when we're finished, we'll have a lovely clean line along the top and the bottom. This hole will all be pulled out nice and flat all the way along. And the whole thing's going to look a lot tidier. So I think this is a great thing to do. This is going to be a huge improvement to the boat. But yeah, this is going to take some time, so I won't film all of it, but I'll show you a little bit. So we've now tack welded this all around, made a couple of end pieces for it. It's pretty good. We jacked out the inside of the freeboard so that it was level with the new Strake, top and bottom. I don't know if we can see how straight that is, but it's pretty tight to the skin. Same there. So now we've just got an epic welding session to complete the weld on this thing. Then we just got to undercoat it, really, grind it back and undercoat it. So finally we finished the welding along here. Awful lot of welding on these, but yeah, it's all right. It's something I didn't think about when we sort of drew it up, course, we got this 70-degree angle here, and we got this 70-degree angle here. But of course, because the side of the boat is you know, not vertical, from the side, it looks like you've got a huge angle on the top and nothing on the bottom. But you know, from the angle that matters, the front, it all looks right. So that's fine. And still we have this angle going down on the bottom here, so we're still not going to get any bugs and stuff up under here, and this will just, you know, shed water and prevent people walking on it, so it's all good. What we need to do now is grind this all back and then get some primer on it, I think. Wow, after the dirtiest, nastiest job of the boat so far, we're ready to put some primer on these rubbing strakes. I've given them a little sand down just to get rid of the surface rust. This is not going to be the final coat, this is just protect them from rust whilst we get on with some other things. I still need to do the other side, but this has taken me about 9 days so far, so let's get this primed up, and next week we'll move on to something else. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.